pleasure to welcome you to the best city in the United States. In my hometown, Houston, Texas. Now, my name is Chris Rice, and I'm a 2018 Teach for America Corps member. Today, I finished my first year of teaching. Now, there's a few people that I owe thanks to in completing this journey. First, I want to say thank you to my CMA, Kate. Is she here? Wow. Kate, her husband, Nick. They literally taught me how to become a teacher. I want to thank my first MCLD, Taquana, who is also just a total badass. And I want to thank Lyric, the past director of my TFA Institute. I admire both of you so much, and I really appreciate the mentorship that you've offered me in the past year. Finally, I want to thank my current MTLD, Shelly. You've opened so many doors for me, and Shelly, I'm so grateful for all the love and support that you've offered me this past year. Finally, I want to say thank you to the rest of the TFA crew who made my experience happen, and for organizing this wonderful evening tonight. So I'm honored to be with you all this evening to share in the celebration of the beginning of your journey into one of the most challenging but meaningful professions, teaching. For many of you, this may be the first time that you ever have worked in a classroom, and you may be wondering what this experience is actually like. Well, now, with one school year under my belt, I want to give you a little insight into the first year teacher life and offer some pieces of advice that I picked up along my journey in the classroom. So first, today, you are joining a community of truly remarkable people who are determined to provide an equitable education for all of our kids. I realized this during my induction dinner a year ago. I vividly remember the hot bus ride to the ballroom and the many bus rides that would come after. As the Houston sun shined on my face, I felt butterflies in my stomach, like I did during my first days of school. Like y'all, I had never met most of the people in my corps, but I felt hopeful about the new relationships that I would form at TFA Institute. I knew that my fellow corps members were here for similar reasons that I was, and that like me, they were crazy enough to sign up for this job right after graduating from college. Soon enough, the strangers I sat with on that yellow school bus became some of my closest friends. Through the many conversations we had on those long, sweaty bus rides, I quickly learned that the kind of people who join Teach for America are the kind of people who are determined to make a difference. I'm confident that you are too. You and your peers were chosen to serve in our schools that most need individuals like you. Individuals who are passionate, motivated, and critical thinking leaders. Individuals who understand the power and value of education. This is what our community is about. And this is what you are now a part of. So, get to know one another. Because more often than not, your fellow corps members will be the ones who've got your back. So one of the questions that you're going to be asked repeatedly this summer is, why? Why did you decide to take on this great responsibility of teaching? Understanding your why will help keep you going even when the going gets tough. For many of us, our why is because we had a teacher in our life who made all of the difference. Now I want you to stand if you can think of a teacher who changed your life for the better. Sorry, you can stand. Think of the teacher who motivated you to apply to college. Think of the teacher that wrote that recommendation for you to get that internship. Think of the teacher who made you feel like somebody important, even when deep down you felt like you really weren't. Look around you. We know what education can do for children because we've experienced it. Education opens the doors of opportunity and expands the limits of our minds. Education grants us the ability to understand ourselves and our histories, as well as the complex similarities and differences among us. Education is a powerful force that can liberate a people from oppression. The teachers in our lives helped us see these truths, and now each of you have the opportunity to make the same impact on your students. So I was fortunate enough to have teachers who made that difference in my life. Even though I grew up in schools much like the ones that you will be teaching in this next year. In fact, I decided to become a teacher not only because I was inspired by the ones in my life, but also because I felt frustrated with some of my early experiences growing up in my school district. You see, early on I realized that our schools were rampant with inequity. My classmates in middle school looked just like the students that sat in my classroom this year. Beautiful and intelligent brown and black kids who found ways to smile even when they had 100 reasons not to. But over the years, I realized that my classmates often received less than they deserved. My classmates did not receive the appropriate resources and support that would help them be successful in class. Teachers would too often hold them to low expectations, or worse, simply expect them to fail. Too many of my classmates fell through the cracks because they did not have an adult who believed they were capable of success. And that pissed me off. Ultimately, these experiences made me hungry for change. It pushed me to apply to and graduate from Yale University, where I studied political science and education studies. I'm the first person on both sides of my family and in my high school to accomplish this feat, but I did so with my community in mind. I joined Teach for America after graduating and asked to be placed in the middle school that I attended because I want to empower the kids who will be the future of my community. So yes, I teach because my teachers inspired me, but I also teach to fight the injustice we know still exists in our schools. After being in the classroom for 1 year, I realized that teaching is not easy. Some of our kids are unmotivated because they've never been told that they're capable human beings. Some of our kids join gangs because they have never felt like they belong in a community. And some of our kids will talk back to you and disrespect you. But that's because they're being abused at home. You see, my best piece of advice for dealing with these complex situations is learn how to love your kids, even when it seems like they don't love you back. Dr. Martin Luther King outlines a specific type of love called agape that I think works well in the classroom. He states, agape is not a weak, passive love. It is love in action. Agape is love seeking to preserve and create community. It is insistence on community even when one seeks to break it. Agape is disinterested love. Agape does not begin by discriminating between worthy or unworthy people or any qualities people possess. It begins by loving others for their sakes. Learning agape will grant you the patience and grace that you need to be able to handle these situations. You can cultivate it by freeing yourself from the assumptions society often makes about poor brown and black kids, and instead see the potential in them first. It is this love that drove me to take actions for my kids outside of the classroom. In the past year, I've worked my butt off to get a seat at the table of power, to be a voice for my kids at the system level. Starting in September, I joined the Spring Branch chapter of the Houston Federation of Teachers, one of our local teachers unions, and became the chair of the Committee on Political Education. During March, I helped organize teachers to travel to the Capitol to demand raises for all school employees and to advocate for more resources for our English language learners. We're currently organizing our community to elect a board member that truly reflects the diversity of our school district. Listen to this. Even though our district is 60% Latino and 49% low income, we have an all-white, wealthy school board, and I think that's a problem. In addition, this year I was appointed to serve on the school redesign team, the campus improvement team, and was elected to be on the district improvement team, where I will report directly to the school superintendent to offer feedback on how to resolve the issues that I noticed when I was growing up in the school district. Change starts in the classroom, but it must also happen outside of it. So, I want to finish by telling y'all about one of my students who helped me see why all of this work and stress is worthwhile. From the first few days of school, this student made sure to show that she didn't like me. She never failed to roll her eyes, talk back, or cuss in class, which made teaching her a little difficult. One day she told me that I was too strict and I made her do too much work. So I finally understood why she didn't like me. I remember one day she shoved her way into my class without making eye contact or shaking my hand. For the rest of the period, she did not follow directions or even look at me. I tried talking to her after class, but she screamed, "Mister, I didn't do anything. Why are you always tripping? Why do you always hold me back?" And she walked out of my classroom with tears in her eyes. It hurt, and I wasn't sure what to do. Only after calling her mom did I find out that her parents had recently gotten divorced and that she was now living between two houses. From then on, I treated her with love, agape, to show her that I cared, in spite of the ways that she treated me. Little by little, her frowns transformed into laughing smiles. And just last week, as she was reviewing for the social studies star, she asked, "Mister, will you come to our graduation? Like when I graduate high school?" Her best friend added, "Yeah, mister, you better be there." I felt my cheeks get hot. And I said, "Of course, I'll be there. I'll be there when you graduate from college too." These kids, our kids, are the reasons that you teach. You teach to help them accomplish their goals and to nurture their biggest dreams. You teach to show them compassion and to love them with all of your heart. You teach to make them feel like they belong. You're about to start one of the best chapters in your life. It's going to be hard, but you're only going to get better. Congratulations, TFA Class of 2019, and welcome.